Welcome back to the Broadman Word, and we're continuing to walk through the days of creation. We are going to take a little bit of a break from the creation of man. We're going to come back to it on Thursday as we go deeper into Genesis chapter 2. But today we're going to look at the last day of creation, day 7. And it's very short, it's only 3 verses long, and there is a big difference on that day. But we also are going to ask one big question. Why did God need to rest? And what does that word rest actually mean? And especially knowing that God is all powerful or omnipotent, why does he need to rest in the first place? So we will tackle all of those things today and more. So turn with me in Genesis chapter 2, verses 1 through 3. All right, verse 1. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day God finished his work that he had done, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work that he had done. So God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, because on it God rested from all his work that he had done in creation. All right, so a couple things going on in just these 3 verses alone. So, when we're talking about these 3 verses of day 7, one of the big things that jumps out to me is the change of the pattern that we've seen in all the other 6 days. Now, granted, there are differences like day 5 and day 6 when it comes to God blessed them, talking about the giving them the blessing of being fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. So we have a little bit of difference, but there's that big main pattern. God said how he created, and God said that phrase. Then, whatever he is creating, as in quotation marks, because he's saying what he's creating. And then that phrase, and it was so. And then at the end of the day, and there was evening and there was morning, whichever day we're on, and also God saying, it is very good, or it is good. And then on the sixth day, saying is very good. Here, we don't see that general pattern at all. There is no, and God said, there is no quotation marks, there is no, and it was so, there is no, and it was good, or, and there is no, and there was evening, and there was morning, and the seventh day. There's none of that here. So for me, as a reader, I'm supposed to take these 3 verses as this is almost like a bow wrapping up the present. Yes, it is wrapping it up, but it doesn't look like what's inside the present or the present itself at all. It's just tying it up. And really, that's what day 7 is. However, there's still a big thing that goes on day 7, and that's the fact that God rested. But what does that word actually mean? Well, I think the Hebrew word for that word rested kind of gives it away when you hear it, and that word is Shabbat. So, Shabbat, I think, really gives away that word and the meaning of rested. Now, when you and I look at the word rested, we think of a nap. We think of, I am at my wit's end. I just need to take a break. I just need to rest. You can also think of, I've just had major surgery. I need to recover. I need to rest. For us, that's probably what's first coming into our mind when we think of the word rest. But here, though, it's a lot deeper than that. The word Shabbat, by the way, can mean to cease, desist, or rest. And of course, it then becomes to keep Sabbath is one of the big usage of the words Shabbat, because again, Shabbat, Sabbath, very, very close together, not just in sound, but in word as well. But here it makes sense why God is resting here for 2 reasons. First, he did just create the whole entire universe and space and time itself. So I would be resting too, just being honest. Um, But for me, I think he's resting to set an example for you and I for two reasons. One, to set up the Sabbath, which we can talk about a different day. I think we should still keep the Sabbath now, not necessarily in like a legalistic manner, but if you ever just thought, you know what, I'm going to take a step back today, I'm going to spend time listening to worship music, I'm going to listen to maybe somebody reading the Bible, like an audio version, I'm going to spend time reading the Bible, prayer, all those different things. Have you ever thought about just making a day of that? Probably not. And let's be honest, me too. And so I think for me, this is a great passage because it's showing that even God rested. Now, what does that actually mean when it comes to the omnipotence of God? Well, the word omnipotent means all powerful. And so, if God is all powerful, why would he need to rest? Well, one of the big things with the word Shabbat is to cease or desist. God, at this point, is done creating. Everything that he wants to create when it comes to the creation account has been created. And so therefore he ceases to create when it comes to the creation account. He is done. He is now resting, or he's finished with the creation when it comes to the creation account. But I think, again, it goes back to setting an example for his creation, as I think verse 3 gets to. So God blessed the seventh day and made it holy. And holy literally just means to be set apart. And so, because of that, I think he wants to set an example for you and I to go, okay, even if it's just a few hours in a day, or if it's a whole day, hopefully, take some time to take a step back and to spend time with God. Just to stop the busyness and the craziness of life. Our senior pastor, Pastor Rick, just spent some time this past Sunday about how busyness interferes with our spiritual walk. Don't get me wrong, it's good to have a purpose, it's good to have a goal, it's good to have a mission in life, but sometimes that busyness, or the idea of being busy, can interfere with our spiritual walk. And so God, therefore, wanted to show an example of what it means to take a step back, to rest, and to spend time with him. And I think that really is what the seventh day is all about, which then puts a kind of a bow on the creation account. However, though, I want to come back and look at Genesis chapter 2, verses 4 through really the rest of the chapter, because I think there's still some nuggets there that we can take and really zoom in on, because I think that's what the context of the rest of Genesis 2 is. It's a zooming in on creation instead of a second creation theory, which we'll get to that and more later on. But today, thank you for spending a little bit of time with me today as we talked about the word rest, why God rested, and why he was setting it up as an example, which eventually led to the Sabbath day, and why I think it probably is still a good idea to keep the Sabbath, or to have some sort of time where we take a break from the busyness of life and spend time with God and rest in him. So thank you for spending time with me today. I will see you on Thursday as we get more into Genesis chapter 2. I will see you then. Thanks.